if money doesn't bring happiness, poverty will bring misery.
The United States was based on capitalism. The Soviet Union was based on communism. If I cannot have 3 cows, why would I even try to have 3 cows?
The only thing that I am thinking with myself is helping to poor people.
It's how we're coded. We were talking about the economic situation of Afghanistan, and what do you think can be improved? I wanted to ask you this question. What do you think, because there are some problems right now, there are some unemployment issues, there are some economic issues in general, and you're living there. I haven't been there for a while. I just want to know a fresh opinion as to what can be done to make things better.
Yeah, so if I express it just briefly and shortly, I can conclude it in just 2 simple words, which are unity and honesty. Honestly, yeah.
Honesty.
Am I right?
Honesty.
Honesty, yeah. Unity and honesty. You know that we have to be united in Afghanistan, and then to be honest with each other. I mean, with each other. We have a lot of people, and tons of the people that they are really millionaire. And the other side, we have a lot of people that they do not have a piece of bread for even one night, and they maybe sleep without having any 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 glass of water or maybe a piece of bread. So it is completely unfair, I think, because the tax is not the same for everyone, and the economical situation is not as good as it should be, and they are not controlled by maybe government or other stuffs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That. So in conclude, just these 2 things, unity and honesty, so might help to become better the financial situation of Afghanistan.
What do you think wealth is good for? And do you think it brings happiness to our lives?
I think money itself is good for all. So there's no place, no situation that money is bad for that. Because, we can do absolutely everything with money. Like we can establish some educational centers in order to strengthen the educational points of our society. Yeah. And there is a lot of other facets and elements that we can mention, like buying foods and maybe traveling worldwide, and maybe live the life in a better way. It's all about money. Because maybe some people are saying that money doesn't bring happiness, but I would like to mention that if money doesn't bring happiness, poverty absolutely will bring misery.
So true.
Because yeah, that maybe 20 days ago or 1 month ago, Elon Musk told that money doesn't bring happiness. But that a lot of Afghan people left tons of comment under his post, and told him that gave us a lot of money and we prefer to not to be happy.
Right.
And we prefer not to be happy, but we prefer to have a lot of money. So yeah, it's all about money. But however, it cannot replace love, peace of mind, health, or maybe time. I mean, buying time. It cannot absolutely replace these stuffs. But money in general is we can say everything, because we can do everything with that. except these points or these sites that I have mentioned, like love, health, peace of mind, or maybe buying time. But in other cases, it is good, and I love money because the situation. Yeah, the situation of Afghanistan, financial situation of Afghanistan, that unfortunately maybe more than 80% of Afghan people are just earning under maybe $4 just per day.
Yeah.
So it is extremely hard and it is even tough to live here.
I understand that, but I think, because he didn't explain it well, I think people misunderstood that Elon Musk tweet a little bit. Because when he says money doesn't bring happiness, I think he means it a little bit differently. Like, it's until a poor person does not get a lot of money, he doesn't understand what he's talking about. Because when you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of concerns either, because you don't have a lot to lose. You don't care, But when you have like money, you definitely have like a bunch of other stuff going on around you as well, right? So it definitely gives you a lot of options, but it can bring you a lot of concerns as well. It can bring you so many new problems that you didn't even know existed before. It's just like the talk that we had before about immigration. So it's like imagine I'm in Canada right now, right? Like a lot of people in Afghanistan who are trying to go to one of the developed countries, they may think that all of my problems have gone away. So I'm in here, I'm good, I'm happy now, I found happiness, I found heaven, I found like everything. So whatever problem I have, they feel very insignificant to those people. They feel as if, okay, he may have some problems, but it's nothing, it's nothing. It's just, he's in a good country. He's doing well. So he might be okay. I'm the one who is struggling with real problems. But that's not the case, because whenever you move to a certain point, the target seems to be moving 10 times more. Every time you're somewhere, your destination, your targets, your goals, your challenges, your problems, they grow 10 times bigger. But it definitely gives you a lot of options. The fact that, nothing is worse than going to a restaurant and just looking at the menu and just trying to find that thing in your budget. It's just so bad. It feels so much better if you just walk into a restaurant and order whatever you want and just eat and just get out, It feels 1,000 times better. It feels 1,000 times better to not wait in a bus station. It feels 1,000 times better if you can just help others, especially this part. Like a lot of people, when they need money, it's not always about themselves. It's not always about themselves. A lot of the times people, when they just dream of having money, is because of the fact that they just want to help others to feel a little bit better about themselves. Because if you don't help others, you feel very unhelpful. You feel very, I don't know, selfish or whatever. But like when you're helping others, you feel good about yourself as well. You feel value, in yourself. So so it definitely matters. It definitely is important. But here, I'm just going to jump back a little bit to the conversation that we had just before this about a country. And unfortunately, I want to disagree a little bit with you about one part. So only about one part. Yeah, it's just that. So when you said there are a lot of rich people and there are a lot of poor people, and the difference between the two walks of life are significant, and it shouldn't be. That's exactly how people are feeling in New York. That's why they chose a socialist mayor, the Mamdani. That's because people are feeling like that in New York as well. They feel like the rich have grown way richer and the poor have grown way poorer. And that's why they just want a slightly more socialist system as well. But what I'm trying to say is that this is not something new. This is something that people have felt and have thought about for hundreds of years in many different forms, but one of those forms was communism. So after World War II, there was this huge face-off between the United States and the Soviet Union because of the different ideologies that they've had. The United States was based on capitalism, and they wanted to promote that kind of ideas. And the Soviet Union was based on communism. Like if you're living in a community or in a city or anywhere, it feels as if everybody should be equal, right? It seems very natural. It seems very, it sounds cool. It sounds awesome on paper. On paper, though. Why? Because in reality, it doesn't work. In reality, when it comes to economic terms, equality doesn't work. Equality means communism. Communism, I mean, in one term at least, in one aspect, in one perspective at least, communism, to put it like super simply, to simplify it a little bit too much, it means like all the wealth of everybody should be collected in one place and then distributed equally. So that was what what the Soviet Union was trying to promote. But in capitalism, which was the U.S. system, they wanted to have a liberal democracy as the main system, and then have a free market for everybody to do whatever they want. You just create the framework, you just create rules and regulations, and then you let everybody to decide for themselves and to grow as much as they can. When it went ahead a little bit more, then we found out that communism doesn't work at all. Like, we found out that why doesn't it work? Because people get demotivated. People lose incentives to do anything when you're living in a society that sets a cap for you. It means, imagine you're in a society, and then in that society they say, if you're earning this much, it's okay. But if you're earning this much, we're going to cut it off, and then we're going to give it to somebody else. Then you're going to think, okay, if I cannot have 3 cows, why would I even try to have 3 cows? Then you don't try. You don't try at all. You just sit back, lean backwards, and then you're like, I mean, there's no point, because no matter how much I try, no matter how creative I get, no matter how much I put efforts into my work and into my profession, it's still going to be confiscated by the government to give it to somebody else who's like sleeping at his home or her home. And that's why it kills creativity, it kills motivation, it kills productivity. And that's why the Soviet Union fell apart. That's why they didn't. It couldn't work as a state. It couldn't work as a system. And then communism died forever. And even today's Russia, even today's China, which they thought they might be communist countries, they're operating based on some sort of capitalism. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to see themselves being submitted to the U.S. system, but they actually are using it. Like right now, they even created like separate cities to be able to operate capitalism in a wider sense, like Shenzhen and Hong Kong. If that's the system, then people try more and more and more and more and try to, create more value. And countries like the US, Canada, and Europe emerge out of that situation. So on paper, wherever you live, whatever the culture is, whatever the country is, on paper, it always feels very good if everything's equal. You see the rich people, you get very anxious, you get very mad, and you're like, why isn't that wealth distributed equally so everybody can have a piece? But in reality, it doesn't work because it kills creativity and productivity.
Yeah, it was great, and exactly, I do agree with you that we sometimes it needs that we do not distribute the money or the amount of wealth equally to the people who are just the first one are struggling with a lot of financial situations, that they get better every single day, and the other one that they are just living 24 hours per week, so it is not fair. Absolutely, it is not fair. And but I meant that in Afghanistan we are struggling and we are facing challenges a lot, but I don't know, we don't have chance, and we are, or maybe you are unlucky people, but we never somehow
had the opportunity to just grow a little bit further and stuff like that. And also, I have to mention one more thing. So this is like, if this is capitalism and this is like communism, also I have to add something I forgot, that there's this middle ground, like not actually like middle ground. It's much closer to capitalism. But there's also this ground that these new systems they found. It's called kind of socialism. It also means like capitalism, but at the same time, it's good to take care of the very poor people. So they try to create like which happens a lot in Europe and in Canada, but not in the US. So that's why in Canada, the healthcare system is kind of free for everybody, the main healthcare system. So if you're like really sick or if you really need some sort of operation or something, it's going to be free. Not the fancy stuff, just the necessary stuff is free. And but in Europe, they even give you some money as well, like a little bit to some very poor people, right? So that's why they're trying. That's what they're trying to do in New York as well, in America by Mamdani and everything. It's like socialism. I'm not going to oversimplify terms here because it's not that simple. It's much more wider, very heavy concept. But like if I'm trying to put it simply so people can understand, it's like socialism is capitalism, but like let's help the very poor people as well. Let's like create some systems where the very poor can get something so they can just be steady, so they don't fall around. You know, we have to take care of their health and we have to take care of the society as well in general, like the very basic needs, right? So that's, I think, the middle ground that a lot of countries can benefit from. But I think it's a country's choice where if you want to go full capitalism or make it a little bit socialist.
Yeah, it's totally depend to them that how they want to go ahead. If I share my own perspective about money, is just the only thing that I am all the time thinking with myself and I have in my head and my mind is just helping to poor people, you know, because I realized and I know and I believe strongly that the only thing that make me feel happy is just helping to 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 those people who are rich. Who are poor. Sorry.
I understand.
This duty feel me, somehow happy from the bottom of my heart and deeply, and that's why I really love it.
It's how we're coded. We want to help others because we're like we feel connected to each other. When you see a suffering here, you suffer. You literally suffer. That's why you just want to solve that so you can feel better about yourself. Like it's just we're a single organism in like separate bodies.